Good evening. Hello everyone. Pop your hands up. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to picture yourself in a large open field. So this training is all about how to help children with a spiritual gift. Now, I can't actually help for insurance purposes children with gifts, unfortunately, but what I can do is support the parents, because this is something that's quite important to me. And I only really do any trainings or any kind of groups or any sessions of working with spirit. I only do things that really, really mean a lot to myself, that are important, they're heartfelt, and I think they're really going to help other people. And when I was growing up as a psychic child and being established working with spirit now, I'd say it was only about a year ago that I actually realised the impact it actually had on my parents. Me being psychic, it wasn't easy for them at all, and it wasn't easy for them to support me. And this is going back to, you know, I'm nearly 40. This is going back to the 80s, where spiritualism was like, you know, totally frowned upon. No one spoke about it. It was still very much a taboo subject. And the support just wasn't there for my parents. And I think the best way for me to be able to support psychic children is, obviously I can't speak to them directly due to insurance, as I was saying, but I can support the parents. And you guys know your children better than anyone in the world. So you guys will know what type of psychic ability they have, what they're experiencing, and how you can best support them. So if I can give you the tools and some knowledge and some guidance, then that might just help them. That might help that child not actually sit there crying themselves to sleep, or that child might actually get some sleep and not be traumatized. It might stop the child from thinking that it's weird or that there's something wrong with them, and you know, their mental well-being might be, you know, saved. It could be a number of things. Like, the possibilities are endless with this. So for me to give up an hour of my time here to just give this to you is a real privilege. Okay. So I hope you get lots from this. If you want to go and grab a notepad and pen, we are going to go into a mini training now. So you'll have access to the slides I'm about to show you. And we'll go through everything. And if there's any questions, please, please, please ask along the way. And I will answer the questions as best I can. Okay. Hello, Nora. You're just in time. Just about to get started. Hello, Kate. Hello, Gemma, darling. Hello, hello. Right, so are you ready? I'm going to share my screen and we will begin. Let's get going. Here we go. Can you all see the screen? There we go. The Gifted Child is the title of it. Okay. So I'm just wondering what was in my mouth then. I think it's chewing gum on that picture. Not that that's relevant. There we go. Sorry. So first things foremost, why your child? This is something that people say to me when they reach out and they say, how can I help my child? Do you have any support that you think you can offer my daughter or son? And the first thing they always say is, why do you think my child has been selected? Why do you think my child is the person with the gift? So why your child? And to be honest, I don't think we'll ever fully understand why spirit selects certain individuals to be light workers. But I think the only way I can describe this is, I think that having a spiritual gift is very much like having any talent. It's like having any talent. Why would your child be a good dancer? Why would your child be a good runner? You know, it's just a gift like everything else. So I wouldn't question too much as to why they have it. And I would question more on how you can support them, if that makes sense. But it can most certainly run in families. However, it has only really been our generation now that will speak openly about it. So for years, our ancestors believed psychic abilities was witchcraft, and that only certain religions, and, you know, some people actually completely disregarded it. Now, I myself, and I don't want to start a religious debate here, but I myself, I'm a Catholic. So in the Catholic faith, it's very much classed as devil's work, witchcraft, and it's really, really frowned upon to be spiritual. However, I just think everyone should have the ability to express what they want to express and believe what they want to believe. And if you can encourage your child to talk about what they're experiencing, then that's helping them feel supported and loved, and that can only be a good thing. So I think take a religion out of it, take your religion out of the equation, and just focus more about the child and how you can have to look after, and how you can actually support and look after your child. So yes, it can run in families, but I'd say now it's only this generation that are really going to be open and supportive going towards children, because it's only really just being socially accepted now. So the important thing to remember is not why your child has these abilities, but to help your child learn how to manage them. Because I think questioning why your child is not actually going to help the problem or help them actually embrace who they really are at soul level. But if you can work out how to support them and how you can listen to them with love and respect and guide them in any way that they feel they need that guidance, and you guys will be the best judge of that because obviously you're their parents, then that's the way to manage it in the best way. So how to identify if your child has a gift. So pop in the comments if you are even struggling to identify if your child has a gift, or you know, whether they're actually just maybe in fantasy land, you know, because that can happen. So give me a little love heart in the comments, or let me know if you're unsure if your child even actually has a gift. Sorry, I had to just take a quick swig of water. So let me know if that is you. Hello, Lauren, darling, thanks for joining us. So it's not always clear as to whether or not your child is in fact gifted, because children have the most gorgeous imaginations and can leave you questioning what's actually happening. So here are, I can't speak. Sorry, it's my 5th live stream today. Here are a list of the most common signs a child with a spiritual gift might display. So these are the signs that you might see in them. They might, number 1, look like they're daydreaming or regularly lost in the moment. I was always called a dolly daydreamer at school, and it was really frustrating. I was like, you know, my poor mom and dad, they were just like, oh, you're such a dolly, she's such a dolly daydreamer. She's always away with the fairies. Number 2, they might be quite sensitive and feel the emotion of others. So there might be the children that come home and say, oh, I really felt for so-and-so today. You know, in the canteen, they didn't have anyone to sit by, or, you know, maybe there's people being mean to a certain child and it really affects them. And they're like, I didn't like watching them being picked on. Or they're actually struggling at school and they're struggling to make friends and they're almost a little bit isolated, and you don't really know how to encourage the friendship, and you're the parent that's really trying to encourage friendships and trying to help them. So they're usually the sensitive children, and they feel everyone else's emotions around them. They tend to be quite quiet in group or social gatherings. So it's really difficult if they're in like group gatherings, and you know, they're the ones at the parties that usually just stand slightly aside or stand slightly back, and they're not always in the forefront and not always the loudest of children. They tend to have the brightest sparkly eyes, and it's something that people often comment on. They often say, wow, look at your child's eyes, or wow, aren't they like a really bright colour? Because the eyes are the gateway to the soul, and when people have spiritual activity around them, or they have a spiritual gift within them, the eyes tend to sparkle. It's just something you can really tell. And I always say I can spot a fellow psychic from looking into their eyes, because the eyes, A, are the gateway into the soul, but also they tend to be quite bright and clear. And in children in particular, it's always like when you see a photograph of them, the eyes are really standing out. One of you saying, yes, I'm not sure. As a child, Mia used to sleep on the floor beside me as a teenager because she would see things at night. Yes, okay, Melanie. Yes, they do see things. I'll come to that in a moment. That's my son. He often says things like that. Is that about being supportive in groups if someone's being picked on and he feels sorry for people? Yes, so Melanie and Emma, those are both signs that your child could be spiritual, most definitely. I think my youngest daughter may be able to see, communicate with spirit, but not sure. Okay, Rebecca, what is she experiencing? What is she doing? Let me know and see if I can help you. Okay, so number 5, they're kind and thoughtful towards others. They're the most thoughtful children. So they're the ones that always, you know, if you're unwell, they'll go and make you a nice cup of tea, if they're old enough, obviously. Or they will be the ones to make you a card on Mother's Day. You know, they're the ones that are really thoughtful, and they notice when things aren't quite right with you. So they pick up on your energy easily, and they're like, Mom, is everything okay? And they'll ask you, and they'll probably ask you twice. They're that type of children. So they're kind and thoughtful towards others and can feel into emotion. Now, this seems relevant to some of you watching here. So number 6, they tend to have trouble settling at night. And there's a few things for that. Now, spirits do often make themselves known at night, and that isn't because they want to appear in your child's bedroom and scare the bejesus out of them. It's nothing like that. It's because they know that nighttime tend to be when things start going quiet in the house, people start to settle, and it's a time where you start to relax your mind, you switch off from the day. So actually your children are more receptive and more open, so they can actually easily get their message into the child quicker. So that's why they do it. So they have trouble settling at night because they're more open, more receptive. And you might find that a child is reluctant to go to sleep because they're not sure what they're going to see, what they're going to hear, what they're going to feel. So you'll find that all of the anxiety related to not having the control on their gift will all start to become apparent at night. So most 9.5 times out of 10, if your child has a gift, they will have trouble settling at night. They'll ask for 10 stories, they'll ask you to stroke their hair, they'll ask you to sit on the floor, they'll want to lie in the bed with you. There'll be all the things that you can imagine, all the things that come out with to delay bedtime, they will do. And believe me, I was one of them. I used to do exactly the same. They might experience extremely vivid dreams. So dreams that feel so real to them when they wake up, they're actually, you know, quite upset, quite shocked, quite, they can actually retell the whole dream. So they can retell the whole dream, they know exactly what's happened, and it can feel really, really discombobulating for them. So they experience vivid dreams. They can also suffer with night terrors. So has anyone's children actually suffer with night terrors? Let me know, because it can be so intense for them, and it can be their way of trying to actually settle their mind. So some of the night terrors, it won't be spirit popping into their mind and giving them bad dreams or anything like that. It will be their interpretation of trying to understand what's actually going on with them, and also all the energy that they've absorbed, because they're most, 9 times out of 10, they're natural empaths as well. So all that emotion that they've absorbed of the people around them in their environment, and if they're at school where there's been like conflict or any fights, or if they're at home where energy might be heightened for some reason, or somebody's upset and they've soaked up the emotion, their brain will be trying to understand what's actually happening, what's going on within them, and that could end up with them having night terrors, which can be very, very terrifying and very, very upsetting for the children and for the whole family. So if your child has night terrors, let me know in the comments. They often mention seeing shadows or actual people. So if your child actually says, I saw somebody in my room, or I saw a shadow, be acknowledging of that, actually speak to them about it and say, don't disregard it and don't try and find something, to try and rationalize it. And I'll come to this later on actually in the presentation, I'm jumping on ahead, but they will often see shadows or actual people. So they just say, oh, I just saw something fly past the window, or I'm sure I just saw something walk past me. Don't disregard it, pay attention to it. They might actually start hearing voices. Now, I can imagine if your child tells you they're hearing voices, it's going to scare you. It really will, because you automatically think there's something wrong with them in the mind. But they might often hear voices. So if they do hear voices, or if they tend to, this is something that my children do, they answer something, and yes, they answer something, and it's like, I haven't actually called you. And they're like, did you not call me? Did you not just shout my name? And I'm like, no, I didn't shout your name. So it's very, very interesting to hear what they hear. So it might not actually be a voice talking directly at them. It can be actually just a voice that they hear, like a whisper, or it could be something like hearing their name, or it can be somebody calling them. So that's interesting as well. So if your child has experienced that, I've probably said that in the most long-winded way possible, but if your child has experienced that, it's very different. So if they're answering when you're not calling them, that is them hearing spiritual voices as well. Sensing that someone is watching them. Now, this is something I had always as a child. I always knew somebody was in the room with me, and I did not like it at all. And it used to make me feel really, really funny, because you could feel them watching you. And I get it all the time now as a grown-up, and obviously working as a medium now. But it doesn't bother me anymore. I just say, hi, how you doing? but having the sense that someone's always watching you, that can really, really unsettle a child. But again, it's their guardian angels. It's usually one of your loved ones from the other side. So it's nothing for them to panic over. So a couple of you saying that you've had experience of this. I'm just going to read some of the comments. Bear with me. And then I'm going to come through to the rest of the slides. Okay. Rebecca's saying she's spoken about seeing a lady in her bedroom. She likes playing by herself and is always talking to herself. Yep, sounds about right. She also comes into our bed every night and says it's scary in her room. Okay, let's see, click more. I was the same as a child. Lovely. Okay, so there's ways that you can help her, Rebecca. Have you actually developed your own psychic ability? Have you actually worked on that yourself and learned how to open up, close down, and to also control it? Or do you feel that you've blocked it out now you're older? We can never fully block them out at all. So that's something interesting. But there's things that you can do with her that we're going to come into later on in the presentation that will really help you. Emma's saying, my son doesn't have trouble settling at night. That's good. But pretty much most nights he comes running in at full speed into our bedroom around the same time, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. And he says that a man is coming up the stairs, coming to get him, and so he runs into us before he gets to him. Is that a bad dream? It's hard to know the difference. No, if he's doing it at the same time between 2 and 3, Spirit love that time. So they love between 2 and 3, 3 and 4. So if your children are waking up between 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, that's the spiritual hours. So usually that's when they're around. I don't know why it's the hour. They don't have time over in spirit world, but that's what's happening. So if you're waking up around that time, it's spiritual activity around the house. The man wouldn't be coming to grab him, but the man might be coming to talk to him. They don't really understand that they're scary. They don't mean to be scary. And it's most probably somebody connected to you in the family. He has also often comes into me asking me if I called him and asked what did I say, and I take it you haven't called him. So again, he's hearing the voices. They're trying to get his attention. So this is really going to help you as well, Emma. Sorry guys, I'm going to have a coffee. I can feel it. My son, Rachel saying, my son has seen a scary man in his room. What does he mean by scary man? Because a child with a scary man will be just somebody that they don't recognise. Also, my mum and dad who have passed and he's never met. Oh, amazing. That must be lovely for you, Rachel. I've recently had the room saged and he seems a lot better, but still has room lit up and sleeps with a tent over his bed. Oh, bless him. I've also been told to close him down at night and wrap him in a cloak of protection. Yes, you can do. He can do that himself, depending on how old he actually is. Let me know how old he is. And there's a meditation that I think will really help you at the end that you can be able to do himself. And you can just pop on in the background. But yes, having the tent around him, it's like, I talked to him about that because he's kind of makes me feel the same energy I used to feel, which was absolutely terrified. And that's not what spirit want for him. So maybe if we could get him to maybe step away from the tent and realise that he is strong in himself and he's always in fully control of his gift. Obviously, please let me know his age because this is all age dependent and you guys know your children better than anyone. So if you think that a conversation like that would be too much for him, obviously don't do that. He's only 4, do not do that then, it won't be applicable. But I think make the tent a fun thing then rather than a safety thing. So almost like a superhero tent or a tent because he's so special, he gets 2 lots of bedrooms, so it's his second bedroom. But I'd take away the emphasis of the tent is security because he's going to have that feeling of not being safe. And that's what I used to have as a child, and that stays with you. So Rachel, try and make it a tent of, oh, you lucky boy with your 2 bedrooms, and make it really special, like your superhero zone. This is where you get to be the strongest and get to be the most powerful when you're in your tent. Like make it a fantasy thing for him so he knows it's fun rather than a safety angle. That's what I would say to you. Rebecca's saying, in the process of opening up, developing learning protection through your psychic school. Woohoo! Well done, Rebecca, amazing. Okay, thank you, Emma, no problem, you're welcome. Right, so where to begin with support then? So there's some great comments here, keep them coming, guys. I'd love to read them all out. Don't be shy, and we've all been there. Well, I've certainly been there, and there's lots of people that have been there with their children. And if you're interested in spirituality and you're in this group anyway, it's most highly likely that you guys have experienced spirit at some point in your childhood as well. So yeah, get all the comments coming. Let me see if I can help you. So where to begin with support? Every child handles spirit very differently, and wherever your child is currently at, let me just move my head out the way, I can't see the font. At the following, where your currently child is at, the following ways of support will help your child and will also help you, because obviously it's very discombobulating for you adults as well. We only want our children to be happy and healthy. But listen to your child with interest when they talk about their experiences. So you guys have come up with some amazing examples of what's been happening in your house. You know, so do you listen to your children and talk about it, or do you have the look of fear on your face when they're saying anything about it? And, you know, really be careful of your facial expressions, because I used to read my mom really clearly. And if your child has a gift, they can read your energy as well. So listen to them with interest and acknowledge and talk about their experiences, and let them know it's a safe zone to talk about it. Try to not be dismissive or look shocked, like really try, and like almost practice a stern face in the mirror, or like a poker face almost. So you can put your poker face on and so they can't always read what you're thinking, even if you are thinking, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to my child. Even if you are in that mindset, don't let the child know. So try to not look dismissive or look shocked. And please don't disregard them either, because it's such a big thing for them to be able to open up and to talk about it, and to be dismissed or to be told that, no, it's all in your head, or no, you're crazy, or something like that. I'm sure you guys wouldn't do that to your children, but I know there are some people that do, and that is the worst thing you could say to them. It is common to offer a logical answer, and believe me, I've done this with my own kids. I'm not proud of that, but I'm going to be just completely transparent and honest with you. I've done it to my girls. So it is common to offer a logical answer, but please only actually do this if that's really the case. Now, I get it, you know, you're tired, you want to go to bed, they've been up 4 times, they're telling you there's a man in the room, and you just want to say, no, you just woke up from a dream, you're fine, go back to sleep, you're absolutely fine, don't worry about it, and don't be silly, of course there's not a man in the room. You know, you want to say all these things, and you don't want to have an in-depth conversation at, like, you know, the middle of the night. So what I would say to you is, only if it's a case of the lights are flickering because the bulb has gone, then tell them the bulb has gone and you've replaced the bulb and it's all okay, do not worry. But if it's a case of the bulb is fine, the electrics are all fine, the lights are flickering, you could just say, shall we just sit together and just ask our guardian angels to make this stop, or whatever you feel is appropriate. We're going to go through the different things. Or maybe you could turn on a bit of music or some meditation, or just say, okay, darling, would you like me to lie with you for a few moments, and just till you feel a bit more at ease, things like that. So just to help you feel that little bit more secure. And I know it's hard, I know when we're tired and we just want to go to bed, but trust me, it will pay off in the long run if you just take the moment in that moment to address the situation and offer the support that you best can. Number 4, depending on the age of your child, again, it's all relative to the children's age, talk to them and ask them how what they're experiencing is making them feel. You know, your children, I think as children, they don't tend to have a lot of decisions, they don't tend to have a lot of control in their lives. You know, we control an awful lot for our little ones, don't we? So if you can give them a space where they can sit and talk about how they're feeling and, you know, what it's actually doing for them in the cold light of day. So maybe you could take them for like a milkshake, or, you know, wherever you think is appropriate for their age, and just get them to talk about what they're experiencing, how it's making them feel, and really just to chat it all through and see if there's anything that you can feel is cropping up that's making them feel even worse, or if there's anything that it's actually expanding on. Because sometimes I thought when I was younger, just because this is how children's minds work, I thought I was being punished because everyone was saying, oh, you're seeing spirit because it's a gift. Hi, Helen. Hello, darling. Hi, Sarah. You're seeing spirit because it's a gift. But I was like, that's not a gift. What, being awake at night terrified and, you know, feeling so unsafe and seeing spirit everywhere and having them chat to me, how is that a gift? And I thought, right, okay, what have I done? I've done something really bad and really naughty to have this horrible gift. and I used to sit and try and punish myself for that. So that again is how a child's mind escalates and thinks. So it's important to know what your child's going, what they're having through their mind, what's going through their minds, because you don't even try and think that you can imagine how they're feeling or what they're actually taking on board, because I can guarantee you a child's mind is so imaginative and expansive that they could end up magnetizing into something that you couldn't even fathom. So really take the time to ask them how the experience is making them feel. Purchasing some grounding crystals and popping them underneath your child's bed and having them on your child or in their, I don't know where the rest of that font is, or in their school bags, it's meant to say, okay? As long as they're not going to try and eat them, that's the other thing. So if you can have them on your child, in their pockets, in their school bags, next to their bed. But if your child's somebody that puts something in their mouth or they're young, obviously disclaimer there, you'd be very careful because you wouldn't want your child to be choking on them, okay? But if you can have them around the bed. Now the grounding crystals are tourmaline. You might want to make a note of that, tourmaline to the black ones. The darker stones are the grounding ones. That's the easiest way to probably know. But if you go along to a crystal shop or to a spiritual shop, they'll talk you through which ones. So go for the black stones, and if you can, maybe you could get a nice bracelet, again, if your child is old enough to wear them without choking on it, and pop that around their wrist, but try and keep the crystals on them at all times or nearby where they commonly sit. So if there's a set space they sit on in the living room, pop them in the corner of the living room so they're always protected, always guarded. Play calming sounds before they sleep. So try and get your child into a nice relaxed sleep before bed. So this will help with the vivid dreams, it will help with them waking at 2 or 3 in the morning or 3 or 4, and it will also help them with night terrors and things like that. So playing calming music, like waves, and if you go onto YouTube you can get like wave music for like 100 hours or something crazy, so you could have that playing on in the background. You could have birds, water, the sound of water, although they might need the toilet quite a bit with that one, so watch that. But find what works for your child. When you take your child out for walks, what do they like? Do they like the woods, or do they get freaked out by the woods? Do they like the birds? They chase the birds. Do they like to swim? Have they always been a water baby? Do they like the beach? When you go on holiday, are they always the first ones to be at the beach? So find where your child's natural element charge is and what they feel aligned with, and see if you can play the sounds that would really, resonate with them, resonate with their soul, to be able to calm them down at soul level. Number 7, play the meditations that come with this training. So there's 2 meditations I've done for you, which if you would like access, just literally type in the comments, access to the meditations please, and we will get those sent over to you. My assistant will do it for you. So there's 2 meditations, so you can pop these on in the background even if your child is 4 and too young to understand. But just the words and actually being in the energy of the words that I'm saying for them will still really, really help them and still put that protection around them. Excuse me. Selenite crystal. Selenite is gorgeous. It's like a magic wand. It looks like, does anyone watch Superman? And do you remember there's one of the Supermans? I think it's Superman 2. I don't know why I remember this. Where he had kryptonite and it all looked like spiky clear glass. It was really funny watching him in his cave, Superman, and and he lost his power, but I loved the cave. I loved all the kryptonite. So if you can get some selenite, it looks very much like that. It's like a wand spear, and you can literally walk around your child's bedroom or wherever they feel they're seeing a heightened sense of spirit or they're feeling spirit more, and just wave the wand around them. You can pop it over their clothes after they come back from school if they've absorbed energy at school, things like that, and just whop it around like that around their things, and just keep it close to them or in their bedroom. If they're chokers or if they're too young and they're chewing on things, pop it high up on a shelf out of reach so it still cleanses their bedroom and just gives you that support. Okay, so support them with understanding the gift is on their terms, and they are allowed to set boundaries when they want to. Again, this is very age dependent. So I want you to have an understanding of your child here and make this all relative to your child. So that's the one thing that used to really bug me. I felt I had no control, absolutely no control over my gift at all. But if you can just let your child know that they are always allowed to set their own boundaries and they're always fully in charge of their beautiful gift, and it's theirs for them to work with at their level, their time, then that will just give them that little bit of power. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, how children very rarely get to make any decisions for themselves and very rarely have any power. I think this is why they all start trying to dress themselves at the age of 3 in crazy outfits, because they feel as if they've got nothing and no say in things. So if you can let them know that the gift is on their terms and they can say if they don't want to see spirit or if they don't want to hear from them, then that's okay. And you can help support them with that. I think that would automatically help them feel like they're actually being heard and understood and that they have some power. And sometimes that's all they need. They just need to know that they've got support and they've got some kind of power here. And that's enough to help them feel like they're being loved and supported in many ways, and that their gift isn't a ball chain around the neck and it is something gorgeous. Hello, Holly. Nice to have you. Oh, this is another one. This is something that's my bugbearer. Right, okay, so avoid them having access to films or media material that scaremongers. So similar to like Ghostbusters, you know, like, have you seen Scooby-Doo, guys, where there's always a baddie and he's always a ghost or he's always some kind of skeleton that's running around chasing them all, and then it turns out to be someone they know, which is even more scary, in a mask. So things like that, that's going to make the child associate ghosts with something awful, because that's where it is. This is all learned. So their fears are all learned. You know, their fears that they've watched something. And what's the other one? Casper. Casper's a friendly ghost, but he's still a ghost. And at the beginning, everyone's fearful of him. So things like that. Just be careful what your child is actually watching in the media. And this is where I'm literally on a mission, because I will be changing how spiritualism is perceived in the media, because it's just totally wrong. And yeah, it just should be changed, definitely. So if your child is susceptible to spirit and you feel has a gift, then please stop them playing certain games on their computers and things like that. And also things like, you know, that granny game, that's terrible as well. Just be careful of the apps and being mindful of what they're actually watching and using and playing. Because if they're fearful, it's only going to feed that fear even more. Does that make sense? This was my 12-year-old daughter. She slept with us for years. She was scared. Wakes up at 2 to 4 a.m. most nights. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. You'll be able to put some of these practices in place with her, Laura. Sorry, bear with me. To be able to shift her. So, yeah, this should really help her. Right, let's check in with you. Most important, your child solely relies on you, and therefore the energy and words you use when they talk about their experiences are absolutely crucial. So this goes back to saying about your poker face and not being dismissive. But if your child is coming to talk to you about spirit and is opening up, that's amazing. And if they're telling you all of these things that are happening, you need to be in a position where you have some kind of answer to be able to support them. So it's all very well them coming to you. That's stage number one. But if you've got no way of actually trying to support them and help them, it's kind of like falling on deaf ears. You know, it's the blind leading the blind, essentially. So let's check in with you. If you look frightened, your child is going to pick up on this. And as the parents, your child absolutely adores you and wants you to be, you are the oracle of them. You're everything to a child. You know, you are their life. So your response is crucial. It really is, and means the most to them. So if you are telling them it's all in their head, they will be confused and frustrated with themselves. And hopefully the people watching this aren't those type of people, because you're here, you're watching this, you're taking the time out and you care about your babies and you want them to have the most support. So I can't imagine you would be those people, but there are people like that have done it. And like I said, when life gets in the way and we're all busy and it's all chaotic and you want your child to sleep, it is tempting to say, oh, for goodness sake, you're fine, it's all in your head, stop worrying about it. But but actually it's the worst thing that you could do, and you're only going to manifest the problem to be even worse. It's just going to scale out, it's going to be even worse, more intense. So please take a moment to ask yourself, and you might want to get a pen and paper and do some journaling on this, but how do you feel about spirit? So does spirit scare you? Do you love spirit? Do you have a lack of understanding? What is it about spirit? How do you feel? How do you feel about spirit? What fears do you have around spirituality? So what is it that scares you about spirit? What fears do you have? Oh, this has gone a bit wrong. Where do you feel you could gain knowledge? So what fears do you have around spirituality? And where do you feel you can gain knowledge? Just bear with me 1 second, guys, because I'm going to have to fix that. It's going to bug me. There we go. Yes, so what fears do you have around spirituality? Where do you feel you could gain knowledge? So what is it you feel you're lacking in support that you can't give to your child? So what knowledge do you feel that you are missing? What knowledge do you feel that you need? So where could you gain knowledge? Is it on how to support your child? Is it actually understanding what a gift actually is? Is it understanding the type of different gifts that you could have for your child? Or is it knowing how to make them feel less fearful? Like, what is it that you feel? What knowledge do you feel you could gain to help your child? Remember that most fears can be based on a lack of understanding. So therefore, if you understand more about spirituality and what your child is experiencing, you can know how to answer the questions they might actually have. So I recommend you start by reading my blogs, checking out my YouTube channel. There's a video on there about how to help psychic children, reading some books on mediumship, and I highly, highly recommend the beautiful Doris Stokes, who has sadly passed on now, but she's amazing. She was fabulous. And she's got some gorgeous books out called Voices that really talk about spirituality and mediumship in particular. My other favourite is Tony Stockwell. If you don't know, you're not familiar with Tony's work, look him up. He's fabulous. He is amazing. And again, he was my saviour whilst I was learning as well. So maybe just start reading some books and see what you can do to help your child. I'm just going to read one of the comments. Marianne saying, I know my 3-year-old nephew is gifted and he recently started saying he's scared of the dark. I feel it's part of my role to guide him, but not sure how well I can do this from a distance as I see him once a week. Interesting, it might be wise to speak to his mom and dad and see if they picked up on anything, and if there's anything there that you can support them with, and giving the meditations to them, the crystals, and just listening to him every time he speaks about it. That might just be enough. So in my family, just to help you, Marianne, my nan, God bless her, who's transitioned over now, she always said to me, you have the gift, you have the gift, it's so strong within you. But then she wouldn't tend to expand on that. So I do believe my gift came through from her. And I used to see her once a week, at least once every 2 weeks, definitely. And I didn't tell her what I experienced, but I kind of knew that I could and that she believed me. So just one person that acknowledged, apart from my parents, obviously they were wonderful, but just one person that could actually, who was outside of my family, because I know your parents can almost be so in awe of you. Mine aren't. They're hilarious and they're lovely, but they're all almost so in awe of me that having the validation that was somebody else outside of the immediate family, my nan, also believed me, and I hadn't spoken to her about it. I hadn't even mentioned it. My dad hadn't mentioned it to her either. We kept it very internally in our family of 4. For her to pick up on it made me feel even more at ease, because I knew that I wasn't making it up, and I knew that somebody else could see it in me, so I kind of wasn't crazy. So you will actually be helping him more than what you realise, Marianne, by just acknowledging that he has a gift and listening to him as he gets older, and also supporting his parents. So you're doing more than you actually realise. So give yourself a bit of a pat on the back there. Right, so depending on how old your child is, I'm going to take you through some angel chants. Angel chants are so effective and so powerful. So if your child is distressed, so this is probably more applicable to the people that's children are waking up between 2 and 4. So if your child is distressed or feeling frightened anywhere or at any time, they can simply repeat these chants to themselves and receive spiritual support and love from their guardian angels. So if your child is old enough, please ask them to say these chants anytime they need them. If your child isn't old enough, you can actually say them for them. Alternatively, here we go, you can repeat the chants for your child. So are you all ready? Angel chants. You might want to get a notepad and pen or maybe screenshot here, take a photo. Number 1, angels, help me feel calm. I know these are very simple, very basic, but they really work. So it'd be really good if you've got children at school or if they're waking in the night and they're panicking, you could say, why don't you use your angel chants? Angels, help me feel calm. Angels, help me feel happy. Angels, I want you. So they know that when they call their angels, so just explain that one, that their angels are there to support them and they'll take away anything that's not serving them. Angels, I need you. Angels, put me in a bubble. Now, a bubble is very much about a protection. So if they can visualize, again, age dependent, a bubble, a clear bubble going all around them, that's their protection bubble. So once they're in their protection bubble, there's nothing that can come forward. There's nothing that can get into their hemisphere. So again, it's very much about protecting their natural energetic charge around them, also giving them some kind of control so that they know that they're loved, they're supported, and they're totally and utterly in control of everything. Your child can say just one or all of them at the same time, but please encourage them to repeat over and over again until they feel calm. So if your child's in a heightened state of anxiety or quite frightened or really distressed, they're going to need to repeat the chant so many times, maybe up to like 100 times. But if there's only one that they resonate with, it may be like angels, put me in my bubble, then that's fine. They can keep saying that one over and over and over and over again until it resonates with them, until they feel calm. Okay. Can the gift be blocked? Oh, this is a good one. And the answer is yes. In some cases, your child might decide spirituality is not for them and block spirit out. These children, though, sadly often grow into natural empaths in adulthood and can struggle emotionally at times. It is important to understand that this isn't because spirit are cross, it's simply they need to master closing down fully. So you might have said or might have experienced now watching this, and let me know if this is you, that you saw spirit as a child, or you had feelings, or you could pick up on things, and then as you got older it's kind of just went all out the window. Is that you now? Let me know if that is you, because it can feel as if you've got control of it and you've blocked it, but actually you will be a natural empath. So you'll be a person that soaks up all the energy of people around you, and it can actually make it more difficult for you. So if your child decides that spirituality isn't for them, you need to make sure that they are, as they get older, and obviously they have more of an understanding and you can talk a bit more freely with them, that they start to master closing down and switching off. And once they can switch off from spirit and closing down, which again is on my YouTube, closing down meditation, they can find a way to release and close down, then that will really, really help them. But if you were one of these children growing up and you think you've blocked it out, I can guarantee you haven't fully. So you will need to start mastering closing down and understanding your gift. And it might actually be that psychic school course might be for you guys. So you can like look at the gift, look at it in detail, but also master your energy protection. And you could just solely use psychic school just for that. Okay, so if your child doesn't want to continue with spirituality, that's absolutely fine. They don't have to, of course, it's a choice. Spirit are not going to hound them, but they do need to learn how to close off effectively and properly. What if my child decides to develop their gift? This is wonderful and should only be done when the person is over the age of 18 and has decided the time is right for them. Hello, Geraldine, darling. Nice to see you. Nice for you to join. So I always say, like, my children and their friends, they always want to come on to my live streams when I'm doing readings. They always want to come to my live events. And I say, absolutely not. You're not allowed to, not until you're 18, because it's so emotional and there's so much to understand. And it's the energy of the room, and it's the energy of the people on the live stream, the energy of the readings. It's too much. And I think anything under the age of 18, it should not be explored at all. And in fact, if there's anyone that you know that's under the age of 18 in this group, please can you remove them from the group, because they shouldn't be in this group. It should only be developed, their skill set, when they are over the age of 18. So everyone develops in different ways, so encourage your child to look around and feel into what training would be right for them. So if this is you and you feel that your child might actually develop their skills later on and it's very strong in them, all you can do in between that is the tools, you know, meditation, helping them sleep at night, helping them calm, crystals, cleansing their area, cleansing their energy, and playing meditations to them so it absorbs into their subconscious, and so they start to close off. And then once they're 18, you can talk about it, explain what you've done to support them to get to that point, because they might have actually forgotten a lot of it. And then you can look to find ways to help them explore. So just one sec. So the main areas for development of psychic ability, if your child is now coming up to the age of 18, would be the local churches, spiritualist churches, or you can take a look at my psychic school as well and see what you feel is relative for them. But it's about identifying where their strengths are, where their skill set is majorly, and then working from there. So meditation. So I've got the 2 meditations that I'm going to give you access to, but only if you want it. I don't want to bombard you all, but if you would like the 2 meditations to help with your children, I will send those over to you. Well, I won't, my beautiful assistant will, but let me know if you would like them. And if you would, I might actually put a post in the group and you can just pop your emails underneath. And the first one is the calmings. This will help your child relax and switch off, so it can be played before they go to sleep at night. And then the bubble effect. This is to help your child close down from spiritual activity. They can switch off and feel nice and cleansed and relaxed. So if you would like those, let me know, and we will make sure that we get them over to you as soon as possible. So there we go, my darlings. I hope you found this useful, and I hope it's going to help some beautiful, beautiful children, because it's so important that they know that you're there, that you love them, you're supporting them, that you're giving them all of the guidance that you possibly can. That's all you really need to do. But just add those few little bits in, you know, playing the meditations, crystals beside them, grounding them, making sure that they feel secure, feel loved, feel heard, and really broaden your knowledge of spiritualism as much as possible. So obviously I'm here, you know, I'm always doing different things in the groups. So, you know, pay attention to what I'm doing, what I'm saying, the blogs, read up on some books, go to who you're energetically drawn to. It doesn't have to just be me. You can go to whoever you find you really resonates with you, but just make sure you do your knowledge so you can support your children in every capacity. Okay, because trust me, as an old psychic child myself, that would literally have saved my parents. It really would. So do everything you can to support your babies, but hopefully that's given you as much support as you possibly can in the meantime. So I hope that's given you an eye-opener and something for you to go on, and you can start implementing some changes right now in this moment. Okay, sending you all oodles of love. I'm off to blow my nose again. There's a big pile of tissues next to me, but there we go, we're still working through it. I love you all so much. Big kisses, big loves. Mwah.